We all the way live. Should play your partners from the bottom of the map.
from the bottom of the map,
It's your dog Israel.
like Hayes.
And ooh shit. It done went down. We about to get into these college football playoffs. Um Now everything has fallen. I can't talk. All the games have been played. Now the selection committee has a lot of decisions to make. All every team that was supposed to win, who is going to win? Is it going to be chaos? All the teams that you're thinking supposed to be in, are they going to make it? So we had Michigan beat Iowa, Georgia fell to Alabama, Washington beat Oregon, Florida State beat Louisville, Texas beats Oklahoma State. So you got the SEC winner, you got the Pac-12 winner, you got the Big Ten winner, you got the ACC winner, and you got the Big 12 winner. All right. So I believe that I believe that the committee doesn't leave an SEC team out. You got two teams in Georgia, Alabama with one loss. The SEC champ, I don't see how they leave them out. I know Bama is ranked number 8 right now. They only got one loss. Their one loss is to Texas. So how you leave Texas out? So I'm like, they got Michigan that's in for sure. You got Washington that's in for sure. Who else gets in? Does Texas get in?
Go ahead and say who you think your folk gonna be.
All right, so I think they're gonna put Michigan. I think they're gonna put Washington. I think they're gonna put Florida State, and I think they put Bama in. I think they leave Texas out.
I wouldn't be mad with that, but if we're gonna be technical, we just gonna be technical. I think after watching Bama and Georgia, listen. If it's me and it's entertainment purposes, you know what I'm gonna say. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you the four I would like to see, and I'm just being real. I'm gonna take Michigan, I'll take Washington, and I'll take Georgia, and I'll take Alabama. I'd rather see that again. And the only reason I say that is just because, just for entertainment purposes, like, look, bro, I know that Alabama and Georgia are the 1 and 2 best teams. I know that, and that's not fair. A lot of assessments are not fair. Texas beating Alabama, Florida State winning their division, but when I just take a look at the balance on both sides of the ball, I feel like you have it like 2 years ago where they played each other in the SEC. Then it came down to where they saw each other in the title game. I think that's just the most exciting. If it just wasn't about right and wrong and what's technically right, if I take away all technicals, so I'm not saying based on records and season, I'm just off of pure entertainment, I would want to see those four.
I agree with that. I agree. Those are Georgia and Bama. After watching them today, are clearly the two best teams. But I don't. I think the selection committee gonna have choices to make. They're gonna have some decisions because if you leave Georgia and Bama out, so now you have Michigan, Texas, Washington, and Florida State. Is that what you think? Those are the top 4 teams, and those are going to present the best games. So let's say you have a Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Texas game, and out of those are going to be the best games you got. I don't see how you don't put Bama or Georgia. I don't. You can't put Georgia in because they didn't
Here's
win
the
their
thing, right?
conference.
No matter what we really think, it's going to 12 teams next year.
It's
So
going to 12 teams.
whoever feels like they're wrong, you can't bring that up no more, only because everything changes forever. This is the last year. Think about it. After this year, it's 12 teams and there's no Pac-12. So what we have is a Power Three, what I'm saying, conference, and we're gonna have 12 teams, right? Now you're always gonna find something wrong. You think next year people are still? Do you think next year people are gonna have the same argument? Like, damn,
Think of how many one-loss teams it is. Ohio State one loss. Um,
Oregon, one
well,
loss.
Oregon has 2 losses, but
Okay,
it'll be Georgia with one loss, Ohio State with one loss. You know what I'm saying? It's just like these
Alabama
teams,
with one loss. Texas.
Alabama with one loss. Like you're gonna have a lot of teams that's gonna be making some arguments like we should be in, we should be in, we should be in. And next year they're not gonna have that argument. But I almost kind of like it. Like I feel like it puts a little bit more emphasis on you can't slip up. You got to win every game. You got to win every game. You can't lose or like the age old adage, like you gotta lose. You're gonna lose. You better lose at the beginning of the season. You can't lose at the end of the season. You can't lose your conference championship game. You gotta win that.
So
Bama got their loss early in the season. It's against and this is the case for Bama. They lost to Texas. Texas won their conference. They only got one loss. That's the Oklahoma. It was last second play. They ended up losing, and that's Bama's only loss. It was a double-digit loss, but that's their
I was
only
gonna
loss.
say, but it was a thorough ass whoopings. Now
Yeah,
it was a
beginning
thorough
of the
ass
season.
whoopings.
It's beginning of the season. If Bama was to play Texas now, who win that game?
Bama all day.
Bama win that shit
Bama
all day.
Bama
If
all
Georgia
day.
plays Texas, who wins that game?
Georgia.
So I'm just like okay. So because you was talking shit about Florida State, and I'm gonna bring it up.
I
You was
was.
talking cash money shit about Florida State.
I was.
Do Florida State get in?
Technically, yes, they get in because at the end of the day, and you know what? On some real shit, I'm being fair because I feel like if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't root for us to get in. So I'm doing this based on just right or wrong. But I'm like, look, bro, I'm not going to be helping my enemy because my enemy wouldn't help me. That being stated, I feel like they should get in, but I also feel like the committee, think about this, right? They've had the coaches poll, we've had the BCS, the playoff committee. If we wanted to, you know what I'm saying, which, there was controversy around the BCS, right? Like the percentage points or why this and why that. So I feel like when you lose a game, you open yourself up to this. Technically, Florida State didn't lose no games, right? No matter what, they won out. But I feel like if you remember what the comments from the committee said, they gave the sentiment like it was really about entertainment. They didn't say the most deserving teams. They said the best teams. And so that's why everybody nervous out here shaking like some strippers. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? We'll see if you lost. And then it's like, so let's hear what the biggest tragedy is, right? If Florida State even gets the smell that these motherfuckers that left me out, they're going to be hurt.
But how you leave them out? Because if the whole thing is to win all your games and they win all the games, how do you actually leave them out?
I think that's the problem. The playoff committee's like been trying to tell y'all these last couple of years. Y'all keep telling us about what's right. We do what the fuck we want to do. We have a whole committee. Y'all know who on the committee, right? What's the name? Ain't Condoleezza Rice on the committee? Exactly. So I'm like, look, bro, this is a committee, bro. What the purpose of the committee? It's the same thing like with the coaches poll. It's like, well, this is what the coaches decide, right? So I think this is like a whole moral argument. Y'all keep saying the purpose of this is to win all your games. Man, you got NIL, nah. We got Vegas, nah. I don't think y'all understand. We having this conversation because Vegas plays a part in college football now. Y'all know it and we know it. So I won't get up.
That was my argument about you can't leave Georgia, Alabama out. This ain't about the most deserving. This about who gonna bring them dollars, who fans gonna travel, who gonna make the most money. And I'm just like the SEC got so much power. Like, how do you leave Bama? Bama in Georgia has basically been college football the past 15 years. Right? There's been some teams in between here and there, LSU, Ohio State. There's been some teams in between here and there. But dog, it's basically been dominated by Georgia and Bama. How do you lead them out? How do you lead them out?
I can see also the counter argument. Like, look, we got Florida State, pipe their fans up real quick. Texas, listen, they paid for this, bro. They paid for this. You know what I'm saying? Which shout out to Texas because you know what I'm saying. I don't know if it was a rebuild. Some would say that's a rebuild. Steve has been out there for 2 years. 2 years, you know what I'm saying? 2 years, and they already, you know what I'm saying, even arguing about the playoff. Same thing with Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell, what this is 2-3 years?
This is third year. This is
third year. Third year. You know what I'm saying? So big things for Miami, right? Anyways, that being stated, look, man, any one of those fan bases are big. If anything, Washington, I mean, I don't know how big that market is with that with that particular team. Michigan. that's like the bad boy of just of college football right now. This man, I think he actually might be able to coach in the playoffs. So
Yeah,
it's
he's gonna be able to coach. He's gonna be able to coach.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you talking about, you know what I'm saying? When we talk about a quarterback down, Michigan ain't had no coach most of these games. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know if it's me. I'm about the entertainment, but I can see it either way. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, at the end of the day, the undefeated team, we should never have to question that. So we
That's
really, so
I'm
we
just like, what's the criteria? Like the committee be giving out these criterias versus being undefeated. Then it's winning your conference. Then it's margin of victory. Then it's do you got a Heisman candidate quarterback? Oh, who's your coach? Who's your mascot? Like they start going to all these like just random ass pull out your ass criterias for who are they selecting, and then you get these games like TCU last year, where they go and they get blowed the hell out. And we've had games like that in the past where these teams make it into the playoffs.
Hey,
And
but
it's
to be
like,
fair
wow,
about it, though, they did beat Michigan to get there. So they got blowed out, but they put up a good performance before they made a bad performance. And that is legitimate. You know what I'm saying? They played good, and nobody gave them a chance against Michigan. Nobody gave them a chance against Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm just saying if let's say this, let's put the shoe on Miami foot, right? How much do them wanting to see Miami be in the college football discussion would help them with getting into, let's say they're sitting at with one loss.
oh, we
And
not
they
getting there with one loss. We hate it. And how we going? How you going hard for Florida State undefeated? If we were in the position they was in, we definitely not getting in that bitch. I feel like we're loved and hated, but just from an NC playoff committee with those type of political types, oh no, we're getting fucked. And we're the ones who it's going other people who's gonna feel it, but they're not going to war like this. Look. If we want to be technically right, here's your final four. If you undefeated, there's no way you're not in there. And then, do you want to fuck Texas for Alabama? Yes, I do. I'll take that. three undefeateds in Alabama. I'll take it. And I like Alabama to win. Yeah, I like Nick Saban. He's on this type of tour. Nick Saban on demon time. We already seen Jalen Milroe. Yeah, they're not losing to nobody. I'm not saying some of the games aren't going to be good, but they're going to go ahead and how are those teams seeded? Right, that's what somebody would want to ask in the comments. Okay, yeah. Florida State is my number 4 team. Off rip, it's bad. Matter of fact, it's so bad. Alabama's with 1 loss is my number 1 seed. Michigan, listen, Alabama with 1 loss is the number 1 seed. Michigan is the number 2 seed. Washington is the number 3 seed because you got Michael Penix. And Florida State is my number 4 seed.
Yeah, I take Michigan 1 just because of the rankings. I'm gonna put Washington 2.
Okay.
I'm just gonna move them up. I'm just gonna move them straight up, like because of how they're ranked now. So I'm gonna put Michigan 1. I'm gonna put Washington 2. I'm gonna put Florida State 3. I'm gonna put Texas 4.
So you're gonna fuck Alabama for Texas, even though Texas got a loss.
I think that's how they gonna do it. Texas not getting in. Texas not getting in. I'm sorry, Texas. I know you beat Bama head up. Texas not getting in over Alabama. I think Alabama's on the run right now. They're on the roll. I don't think nobody beats Bama right now. Not right now. They look that game against Georgia was a heavyweight title fight, and they won that game. I see them bulldozing through Florida State. They're gonna mop the floor of Washington. I think Michigan will be a good game because they kind of play the same style, but I think they run through them too.
I don't know if Florida State scores on Alabama.
I think they do, but without their quarterback.
Are they going to run? Alabama's going to shut down the run. So
without their quarterback, without Jordan.
Hold on. So you're about to break off for long runs on those safeties on that team we just seen? You're breaking Trey Benson, which it took him a whole half to break away that run. So you like them to break on Alabama, you like them to break on Alabama like that? Catch Alabama sleeping on one play, and then go thinking that you're gonna pound it in on Alabama too at that point.
Without Jordan Travis, no.
No. He's been gone. So let's not even talk about him no more. We don't want to, no more asterisks. You were big boys, right? So your quarterback gone. That's what it is. And we already talked about Ohio State. Nah. So he's like, and really, that's if Florida State gets in, they have to think Ohio State. Ohio State has set the precedence to say, you won all your games, right? Just because you lost, you don't matter. We got depth. They didn't know that. That being stated, we're talking cash money shit about Texas. All it takes is a reason for teams to get disrespected. And I ain't gonna lie, I think the media and how people be doing it, like I be talking shit, but I gotta put respect on people's name. Don't be disrespecting these boys, because some of these boys will be like, you know what? Listen, because right now we thinking like, okay, Texas beat Michigan. You know how the niggas say on the meme, I don't know about that, right? You know what I'm saying? But
no, I don't like them against Michigan.
Texas got receivers. Texas could run. Texas gets the trickery. And talk about the coaching. So we talking about Sarkis, you know what I'm saying? Coach Sark. Yeah. You know Sark, his homeboy is lame. he gonna pull out stuff. Now, and maybe he's not lame, maybe he's right under lame. But no. He had Alabama clicking. And he has, think about it, it's the play calling, it's the coaching. The man is an offensive coordinator who's a trickster. So we talking about somebody who was like, hold on, allow me to reintroduce myself. This is really, if I think about why I really like Texas, it's the fucking coaching. It ain't just the players. I think, you know what I'm saying, Urs is cool, but I feel like he has a coach who's an OC. That's why he's playing as well. If anything, Texas, I think Alabama we feel confident in. But Texas, I don't know if Texas loses in the first round. You don't think Texas could beat Washington?
I think Texas bulldozes Washington. I think they run right through them. I think Washington, as much as I like Penix, I think he's the worst. I think Washington is the worst.
I ain't gonna lie. Them boys have shown me between the coaching. They listen, some of these teams, some of these coaches, and I think Kirby's gonna be mad about this. Georgia didn't feel disrespected enough. Alabama felt disrespected. And after a while, they've been playing like that. Washington normally would lose to Oregon, but they felt disrespected real bad. I'm talking about disrespectful. And I just feel like I hear what you're saying about Texas, but I feel like that type of stuff right there, like if Vegas goes and favors Texas against Washington, I like Washington now because I was like, okay, these boys play with a chip on their shoulder and they got enough talent. Here's the problem. With the 4 teams, if you take Alabama out of that equation, I feel like this talent, I feel like in a way, especially with Florida State being handicapped, I feel like it's more even now because now anybody could really get it, except for Florida State.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like it's even. This is why I say Washington is different. Watching them play all year, that physicality that some of the other teams like Texas and maybe Michigan has, they ain't played against that physicality. I would say like Oregon was a little bit more physical, but I'm talking about like real smash mouth defensive line, offensive line play. They haven't seen that all year. And when you go up against them teams, and that's what usually happens, a lot of them Pac-12 teams who are a little bit more finesse, when they come play, you know, Texas, Bama, even like Ole Miss or Auburn, like it's just a different level of physicality. Same thing with the Big Ten. Like you play with them boys they got them hogs in the trenches. And
so they what Florida State just did. They're gonna look like Louisville is what you're saying. They're gonna reduce you because basically that's because here's my thing. Here's my thing about what you're saying. I agree with that. I think that Michigan has elite D-line, O-line, and they are about beating people up because that's who Mario wants to be, right? Jim Harbaugh wants that, right? That's cool and all, and I believe that. But when you get the type of offense that Washington has, basically, because here's the thing about Washington. They don't have an elite defense, but we know that when it comes to Michigan, when they have to play it off, because what happened with them last time in the playoffs? TCU was just, you know, they couldn't really match up well, but they had an offense. Once they spread Michigan out and you got ahead, Michigan couldn't clamp them down and play their way. Michigan likes to play slow when these other people like to play fast. What happens when they're getting to the line quicker than you? And here's my fundamental thing. Does speed beat brute strength? And speed is known to kill. Speed is known to be assassin. TCU
it beats you in the first quarter. In the fourth quarter, when the game is getting a little bit tighter, when you starting to you need the 3rd and 3 conversions, and you need an offensive lineman to start moving motherfuckers, that speed don't mean shit.
Michigan hasn't, but Michigan hasn't shown they could beat any type of opponent. With TCU, what TCU did was TCU got so ahead that Michigan now they got to do things they don't want to do because they don't play from behind. And I'm like, that's the playbook to beat Michigan. I hear that.
But you see what Michigan does to everybody. Michigan slowly, methodically just wear you down. So by the fourth quarter, them arm tackles ain't working.
Washington this year is better than TCU last year, and TCU did that shit handily. And no one said anything about it, and it's like we don't remember it. And I'm like, no.
Do you think Michigan is better last year or this year?
I think they're the same team, and I think they're less explosive.
I think they got better quarterback play. Their defense is better. Their defense is for sure better.
So think about this. Ohio State has worse quarterback play. And I think last year they weren't as prolific. I think they had better defense. I think that they only lost that game by less than a touchdown. I think they could have won that game with better quarterback play. And I think next year it'll be a little bit better because this year, motherfucking Ohio State had a better defense. And that was really why that game was even as close because their offense was not good at all. So, no, I think Michigan can be beat, and I see them as mortal. In the same way we didn't see it last year, you thought it was going to be Georgia and Michigan. I was like, nah, Washington could beat Michigan the same way TCU did it. I like Michigan.
I think Washington is a bad matchup for them because they do have a real explosive offense. But I do think, like I said, that physicality, fourth quarter, if that game is close, I think Michigan, you know what I'm saying, especially them having the experience of being there last year. You got Jim Harbaugh. Like, they're not going to want to get back and lose again like that. Then they're going to at least want to make it a little bit further.
Matched up well, got up early. Michigan was chasing. And I was like, that's the Achilles heel. And Michigan hasn't played a team like that. So I think that's the other half. Is Michigan going to do better with that same challenge? Because they failed it. They failed it horribly. And I think you can score on Michigan personally. And I think if you get out on Michigan 21 and Michigan tries to slow down, but now they got to fight from their back, you can make them do things they don't want to do. And that's why they lost last year. That's why they lost.
I don't think you can score on Michigan like you could last year. Their defense been shut down.
No one did until it happened. You know what? I just feel like Michigan is the same thing. If they get a punch in their mouth, can they come back? I think if they get punched in their mouth, they can't come back. And I think that offense isn't set up for that. And I think that you really wasn't tested in the Big Ten. You came out here at TCU where we gloss over that. They was looking the same way. They were looking good and dominant. If anything, they beat Ohio State more dominant. Here's the better question for you. If Michigan has to make explosive plays, can they? Because they did it last year.
So you're telling me Michigan ain't beating nobody. They get to the playoffs and they finna get knocked out first round.
I don't think they'll get knocked out, but I think they can get put to sleep. I think they can get rocked to sleep by just keeping a cushion and making them do things they don't want to do. And then put it this way. You want to beat Michigan? Make JJ McCarthy, put them in a position where you get up early and they have to score. I don't think nobody's singing phrases like that.
Because their offense has just been like, they ain't had to do nothing.
So that's what I'm asking you. It's funny. When you don't practice something, but you finally get in a position where you have to execute, this will happen to you last year. We're not talking about Georgia. We're not talking about Alabama. TCU got embarrassed, right? The same way you say Louisville garbage, right? But they beat Miami down, scored 38 points. TCU got embarrassed by Georgia, but they beat down on Michigan too. Michigan never looked like they was in that game. So that's why I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you about Michigan. And you know what? Texas could score better than Michigan too. Texas matches up well because Michigan may be imposing, but Texas got deep passes. Does Michigan have deep passes? They could, but you haven't seen it. You gonna bet what you haven't seen? If Texas gets up to play, plays with a chip on their shoulder, I think Alabama still beats them, but they're a hard team to beat when focused. Because if you think about it, yes, Alabama has struggles, but at the end of the day, even when we looked at this Georgia game, if you got a pretty good passer, they can be beat deep. They'll tighten up. They don't got Kool-Aid, but everybody could play. But without Alabama, Texas, I like Texas to score on the field. I like Texas to score. I like Texas to score against Washington. I like Texas to score against Florida. I definitely like Texas to score against Florida State.
Man, listen, we don't get no shits about Florida State over here, but I gotta give props for this dude. Dog, their defense shut Louisville all the way down, dog. Like all the way down. They do have, dog. They play basically press man the whole fucking game. Louisville got some decent receivers. On Thrash is a pretty good receiver. Dog, the
Their
receivers are
quarterback
not getting
isn't
no,
though. Their
no.
quarterback
Yeah, the quarterback sucks, but
and,
the
and,
receivers,
and
are
you know
getting
what?
no
I
separation.
don't think Louisville was that good. I think Miami's defense that me and you off camera were debating. No, they put 38 points. I'm just looking back and I was like, yeah, Louisville, and put it this way, if they were trash, then they beat Miami. Miami was low-key trash. They had a whole
We
bunch
ain't talking about Miami right now. We ain't talking about Miami. We're talking about Florida State. The
well, then
Florida State defense is a lot better than we give them
I don't
credit
think
for.
that you're elite against competition that doesn't have elite on either side of the ball, though. You're called elite when you can shut down. Even when they played against LSU, they didn't shut LSU down. They put LSU into place because of the goal line stances in the line. You don't think so? So then you're basically feeling like they're going to shut down Texas. Then they're going to shut down Texas or Michigan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Washington.
I
so they shut down Washington.
I actually think of those teams of Michigan, Texas, and Washington, Florida State has the best defense.
So is that going to be enough for them to win?
Hell no, because they ain't got no quarterback play. Hell no, they can't win.
I don't want to hear that though. I don't want to hear that because listen, there have been years. Let's go back to the year Alabama lost to LSU. No offense, field goal kicking, right? When I think of elite defenses, it's to the point where listen, and why did Alabama lose? Because they didn't have a kicker. LSU had a kicker. That shit was hilarious. After that, Nick Saban, they went and got kickers, bro. They invested in kickers. Shout out to Miami because we invested in kickers. In this game, pretty much kicking. That being stated, but those defenses, though, were so elite, it's like that. So all I want to hear you say is like, look, because those defenses, because that's what LSU is known for. All of this shit we see this year, no. Before they had Joe Burrow, no. What is LSU known for? They got safeties, they got linebackers, they got cornerbacks. They not gonna score like that. But you, like Bernie Mac, you not gonna score. You're not gonna score. I hear you, but I'm like, this is Louisville. Washington ain't no goddamn Louisville. Michigan, listen, don't disrespect that. Listen, at the end of the day, it's a line by TA. I understand what you told me, but homeboy, you got to show me. You got to show me. And I'm like, you know what? Let them in. But if they get beat down, all I'm gonna say is, I knew it. I told you. And yeah, UM is that much worse because boy, we couldn't even hang with the garbage. And we need to shut up. We need to shut up when grown people are talking. Okay, you sit down somewhere. You see what I'm saying? You need to sit down.
Yeah, let's say, yeah.
Recruits, we got this. I'm like, bro, put 38 points on you. What?
So them teams, them 4 teams, who would you pick out of those 4 teams? So you got Michigan, you got Washington, you got Texas, you got FSU. Who wins out of those 4 teams?
It's crazy. As crazy as it might sound.
You're sounding like a spokesman for Michigan real quick. Then you turn to Texas.
Well, no. I just ain't trying to root for them boys at state like that. So that's really what it is. Michigan, I ain't gonna never like a Big Ten team outside of Ohio State because I was like, well, you just ain't trying to score. I can't go with, bro. We in the era of offense. So offensive wise, I'm gonna make it come down to Washington and Texas. And as much as I don't like certain things about Texas, it's between Texas and Michael Penix, and I'm just like, I want to believe in Washington. I want to believe in Texas, but I was like, damn, but these niggas here. Yeah, let me give me Texas, bro, because I get something on both sides of the ball. I take Texas. Texas.
I think if Bama or Georgia don't get in, I think Texas is probably the most complete team and they win. I would like Washington because they offense.
Low key. I want to say Washington because here's the thing. I feel like Washington gonna play up to their competition. I think I hear what you're saying, but I think in the last year of the Pac-12, I don't have a problem going down with either one of them. I'll ride with Washington because I feel like what they did with Oregon is they just rose to the fucking occasion. They heard you. Oh, we not cool. And I was like, you know what? That's what they shown us every year. Because Utah's like Iowa. Utah is the shit show. Okay, Utah gets a quarterback next year. This is the team you don't want to play. Mario, no. Anyway, yeah, I think Washington plays to their competition, and you're not. Listen to me. You're not gonna stop them receivers. I think those are elite receivers. I think those are the best. I think they got the best quarterback and the best receivers. So basically, I feel like they got the best offense. I just feel like Texas might be a little bit more balanced on both sides of the ball. But I feel like even then they wash up, and I'm not mad if Washington, because here's the thing, Washington is not going to get blown out. And if they showed you they can win in the shootout, and they ain't gonna stop you, but they can get critical stops at the end of the game. And I was like, nah, man, Washington is the scary sleeper team. And I was like, listen, if you disrespect them like Ox, don't bring. I'm telling you now, okay, if you disrespect them, then listen, they're gonna do just enough.
They don't bring no scared business to me.
Listen. You know what would be crazy if they beat Texas like, you know what I'm saying, 35-28. They beat Michigan like 17 to 10 or 12. Maybe Michigan gets the safety, but I was like, I like Washington to barely win some shit and go through there. And I feel like if they play Florida State, no, they fit to. But I feel like Florida State gonna be able to score a little bit too. But I still like them boys to win by like 14 points. Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie. I almost just want to say fuck it. I like Washington just because like that's an off-brand pick. Texas should win, but you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna go with Washington.
Well, shit, let's touch on this one last thing before. Oh, a couple of things real quick before we get up out of here. Okay. Shout out to FAMU. Shout out to FAMU. And you know they the SWAC champs. They went ahead and they already pounded Prairie View A&M one time, and they went ahead and beat them again. So they're the SWAC champs. They will be playing Howard in the Celebration Bowl. They probably gonna put the hands and foots, elbows and knees into them too. So shout out to FAMU. I've been saying I would like to see them boys in the FCS champion in the FCS playoffs. I know they played in it last year, but they declined. They've been declining and so they can go play in the Celebration Bowl. I understand, you know, the Celebration Bowl is about money and representing HBCUs. And them boys need to get to the FCS playoffs because I feel like they could be a real competitor in the playoffs there. They could be a real contender. I know it's usually been between North Dakota State, South Dakota State. You can get in and start, you know, I think they finished like ranked number 6 in the FCS. They only had one loss to USF, and it was a close loss this year. I would like to see FAM playing against that competition, even just to see where they're at. But you get them in the playoffs, and they can start beating some teams, and then now they can become a perennial player, and you know, in that FCS playoffs, you know. So shout out to FAMU for that. We'll see how that goes. You know, it's all about the money. So playing in the Celebration Bowl, that's a money thing. But I would like to see what FAMU does. But back to the last thing I seen was I already seen Kirby Smart and Nick Saban on a horse right now. You know, giving every reason why they team should be in the playoffs. And they both might get left out. They already crying. They're crying already. If they both get left out, boy, you're gonna see them petition everybody on under the sun. Boy, they're gonna be calling the judges, DA, the sheriffs, they calling everybody. Because if they both get left out, basically the face of college football for the past 15 years, oh no, it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna be bad.
Wow, that's real. But man, y'all tell us what y'all think in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? The whole 9. And you know, hey, tell us who y'all think the 4 should be and how y'all see things. And until then, you know what I'm saying? It's another episode from the bottom of the map.
From the bottom of the map. We out.